Christianity and smoking. Well, we know from the Epistle to Ephesians, chapter 5, verse 5 for example that a person needs to resist from uncleanness. Moreover, the book of Romans, chapter 1 adds that one cannot be the slave of creation, rather it is desirable to serve the Creator, with clean conscience and motives, or as 2 Corinthians 7:1 mention otherwise. We can look for example at the story, that was noted during the history, when a certain man decided to become a Nazir, and in order to shave himself, and to offer it all to the Lord, as he was at fear that his own hair could become an object of idolatry to him, and so to take the place of God instead, so he decided to offer his hair as a sacrifice to God at the temple. Well, such is the story noted and associated with Simon the Just, who was a high priest, some time before Christ. We can learn from this, for example, that no addictive substance, or some work of human hands, or something that is changing or affecting the way one thinks in general, well, perfumes are the exception of course, if one is not overusing it again etc. Yet generally no object of creation should take place of God the Father. Also one should regard his own body as a temple, that is dedicated to God, and so not to pollute it with some harmful things, or things that are so addictive, costly and harmful one way or the other. Well, some people could point to some scriptural mistranslation, though we know also from the early church, that for example no addictive or hallucinogenic substances were present at temple service, as they regarded the ritual purity and physical cleanness quite a lot, especially as connected with the law of Moses and the temple service as such. Other than that, even the secular authorities are putting the warnings regarding smoking now, in one way or the other, and i.e. from Romans chapter 13 we know that even such are to be respected, and things that are virtuous, and well spoken of to be considered, as we can read for example in the Epistle to Ephesians, chapter 4, 5 etc. Well, the topic is a bit more complicated than that, yet otherwise for example Galatians chapter 5, verse 21 etc. mentions drunkenness or the things like these, among the works of flesh to be avoided. So we can see that smoking tobacco etc. is definitely not an acceptable thing to the Lord. Notable is for example the first smoking ban ever, that was issued, by Pope Urban VII, and similarly some of the later popes followed this practice. Though that is not to stir any cultural or race competition, though as for example the Galatians chapter 3 verse 28 have to say otherwise. Acts chapter 15 verse 20 and 17:30 have to say, and the times of this ignorance God winked at, but now commandeth